Hello, welcome to stage 39 about the language 2. This is on word order. It's actually a continuation of an about the language from earlier that just acknowledges the fact that even though we were taught the rule about nouns and adjectives is that they go next to each other, okay? And the general rule is that the adjective goes after the noun. Okay, so in English, the adjective comes before the noun, right? Uh, that's a, a that's a brown table, right? Brown is the adjective, table is the noun, but in Latin it's the opposite. It would be table brown. Okay, now the exception to that rule, or maybe we should say guideline, is that if it has to do with size or quantity, so if it's a big table, or if there are three tables, then the adjective goes, like in English, it goes before the noun. So the rule is the adjective goes after the noun, unless it has to do with size or quantity, and then it comes before. But either way, they're supposed to pretty much be right next to each other. Okay, that's what we've always been taught. But what we're going to find out is, especially in poetry, but really across the board, because Latin has that advantage of the fact that nouns and adjectives have to agree in case, number, gender. So they have the same endings. Well, you can kind of put them wherever you want. And that gives writers a lot of flexibility, and speakers, orators, a lot of flexibility to use the word order to emphasize certain things or make certain points. Okay. So that's all basically we're talking about here, is that in stage 36, when we were dealing with Marshall, we saw that Marshall was separating out the nouns and the adjectives. And so, like in this sentence, you have our little books or our books, or really, of course, the our is the royal plural. So, like, you could translate it as my. And we have them separated far out here, but notice that they are the same case, accusative, same number, plural, and same gender, masculine. So we know they go together. Doesn't matter where they are. All right. Now, in this stage, we've seen kind of an extension of that. We've seen an expansion of this idea where we have kai rulius frater and auxiliaribus undis. Okay. Now, they're next to each other, but notice that they don't follow that normal rule, which is that the adjective goes after the noun. So we must be emphasizing this kai rulius rather than the frater part. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because the kai rulius is like sky blue, deep blue, this really beautiful blue that you might see of the sky or of the sea. And we're talking about the flood. So um, we're emphasizing the fact that we are bringing up Neptune here, not just a brother, not just anyone's brother, but that sky blue brother, Neptune here, who is going to help the flood. Okay. Now, over here, we see actually a pretty normal word order for a prepositional phrase. It is common that the preposition goes in the middle of the prepositional phrase when we have a noun and an adjective. Now, usually, here's magna, right? So this is a size, big, great. So this really usually should come first, magna sub arbore. But it doesn't. We've manipulated the word order here to put tree first. So it still means under the big tree, a small bird was latte-botting, was lying hidden, something like that. And notice here, though, that the verb goes in the middle of the the small bird. Okay, now there's not always an obvious reason. Maybe it's sound, maybe it's just personal preference by the author. And in this case, if you were to ask me why did the author put the verb in between the noun and adjective pair, I wouldn't really have an answer for you. Just I would say that was what the author wanted to do. Um, Here, maybe we want to drive a balance. So just like in A, you've got the pair with something in the middle, and now you have the pair with something in the middle, and maybe it's just a balance thing. Maybe it just feels good to have that sort of balance of all of the different parts of the sentence. But again, we have a size or quantity adjective that's coming after the noun instead of before, so it doesn't fit our normal rule, but nonetheless, there it is. Okay. We could see examples of this in English. Now, it's harder to do this in English. In poetry, our rules and our expectations a little bit more forgiving. So you can see that we have changed the adjective place to create a rhyme scheme. A man, he was to all the country dear. Now, dear refers to the man, right? And passing rich with 40 pounds a year, remote from towns he ran his godly race, nor ever he had changed, nor wished to change his place. So we see the rhyme scheme there being created. I'll tell you, most of the time, despite the example that we saw at the very beginning of the Versus Ovidiani, most of the time it isn't rhyme scheme. Ovid is a little bit more sing-songy, I think, than most authors that would write an epic, and it is rare that you get that rhyme scheme there. But usually it's for different reasons, more emphasizing certain parts, certain words, certain descriptions, this kind of thing. Now, there is a figure of speech that I'm going to give you that is not in your book, and I'm going to move it here because this is a great example of this, and I do want you to know this. So this is called chiasmus, and chiasmus is this word order where you have a, the two A's go together, deformes pulci, and then the B's are over here. So if you've ever heard of that 70s Swedish rock group ABBA, this is what I always refer to. This is chiasmus, A, B, B, A. We have the two words that go together on the outside, flanking two words that go together on the inside. And so here it happens to be that you have the adjective, adjective, noun, noun. But A, B, B, A is called chiasmus. And this is very, very commonly used by poets. This is something that we need to put into kind of our level of expectation here, that we have this chiastic structure. So you can see this in a couple other examples. We have medios and hostes going together, and then uinus and then fortissimus going together. And so we have, again, that A, B, B, A word order, that chiastic word order. We have chiasmus in part B as well, oculos meos and pulchra puella. And notice here in this ABBA, we have, and it was this way up here as well, but we have the noun and then the adjective for the outside pair, and then we have the adjective and then the noun. And it doesn't matter too much in terms of calling this chiasmus or sort of understanding this as chiasmus. It doesn't matter which sort of part of speech comes where. But these two words go together, flanking these two words. The opposite of chiasmus is called synchesis, or sometimes it's pronounced synchesis. And let me find an example of this here. And we have, this is B is a somewhat of a good example in the sense that we have the subject in the verb, and then we have another pair of words kind of flanking this. So this is like not A, B, B, A, but A, B, A, B. So this is called synchesis. And so I'm going to type that out for you. So this is called interlocking word order. In fact, even on the AP exam, I think it refers to it as interlocking word order and not synchesis. But synchesis is, in some respect, the opposite of chiasmus, because it's the AB. It's you got the one pair and then the two pair, and they interlock. Okay, so let me get rid of these, and you can see some examples here in exercise A and B. So the point of example 4 is just to pick out those nouns and those adjectives that go together. So aure mea, venti, murmur, rauca, sonant. And so if you are saying aure, ear, and you could see from the English translations, in my ear, then what adjective goes with aure? That's right, it's mea, right? So these two go together. And then we have the wind, and the wind rumbles. Oh no, sorry, it's the murmurs of the wind, the murmur rauca. And so here we see this noun adjective pair going together as well. So this actually fits kind of our expectation that rauca, the adjective, goes after the noun. It modifies, as with aure mea. So this is actually pretty standard word order in the sense of noun adjective pairs. Now, not really in the term of subject supposed to come first, then the direct object, then the verb. You know, this is your subject. This whole thing is the subject, and this has been postponed. So why would an author postpone that? Well, apparently to draw attention to the my ear part. So maybe the author is really focusing on the sound of it. Don't know, but the authors decided to put the ear part of that first. Okay. Incidentally, this is why the verb in Latin generally comes at the end, and why the verb generally comes at the end with most languages. It's because we're emphasizing those things, and the things that come first and the things that come last are the things that you, just as a human, kind of hear most. They sort of echo, and so the doer of the action and then the action itself, it would make sense that those would be at the beginning and then at the end there. So in B, let's see if we can figure out what the noun and the adjective pairs are here. So we have progenies. So looking especially at the English translation, what noun goes with it? That's right, Noah. Noah progenies. Now again, the normal noun adjective word order is flip flopped. And then we have Kylo, and that means sky or heaven. And what adjective goes with that? And yeah, alto. So Kylo, alto. Now again, we've put the verb here in the middle of it. Or maybe the better way, if we want to kind of get inside Virgil's head here, because Virgil is the one that wrote that, maybe the thing that we want to emphasize here is that the verb is not at the end, but alto is at the end. So maybe deep, vast, high, that's the thing that we want to really emphasize in that sentence. Okay, let's take a look here. And I'll tell you, example C is a really good example of either chiasmus or synchesis. Which one is it? Okay, we have these two words going together. We have these two words going together. That is chiasmus, A-B-B-A. So good job if you put chiasmus there. All right, so again, D, do we have chiasmus or synchesis in this sentence? All right, so we have lupos and then fermentes. And then we have stabila alta here. So this is a good example of A, B, B, A. This is a good example of chiasmus. In E, we have that great example of where the preposition goes between the noun and the adjective that it modifies. And the only thing I would say in terms of not fitting the standard word order is that the adjective is coming second and not first, because it's dealing with sort of size or quantity, medio being middle of something. All right, F. Chiasmus or synchesis? Which one do we see there? A very clear-cut chiasmus. Soft prayer and pectora dura, hard heart. Okay, so ABBA, chiasmus. All right, we can see a whole bunch more examples here, and I'm going to leave you to those in the buzz quiz. But it is important that we realize that authors can manipulate the word order to emphasize certain things, and that two really common new sort of types of word order are chiasmus, A, B, B, A, and interlocking word order, which is otherwise known as, that's right, synchesis. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Take care.